Okay, so what you have learned in the previous class, that is on Euclid's division lemma, right? Also the Euclid's division algorithm, so which is very useful in finding out highest common factor of two numbers, right? Which is one of the easiest method to find out highest common factor of large numbers. Then we were doing some of the exercise problems, right? That is, yeah. Uh, in exercise, the fourth problem is homework for you. Okay, so I'll do the similar kind of problem here, numerically here. You can look that carefully, and you can do the same thing here on the fourth problem. I'll do the fifth problem. Fifth problem is very similar to that of fourth problem. So yes. Uh, Problem number 5, that's in the exercise 1.1. Exercise 1.1 in the fifth problem. That is, use Euclid's division lemma to show that cube of any positive integer is either of the form 9m plus 1, or 9m plus 8. We have to use Euclid's division lemma to show that cube of any positive integer is either of the form 9m or 9m plus 1 or 9m plus 8. Okay, this is what we need to prove. So let us consider a positive number. That a be any positive integer, and let b be equal to 3. By using Euclid's division lemma, we can write this as a is equal to bq plus r, where r is greater than or equal to 0 and strictly less than b. And as we can see here, this b is 3, right? So here we can put b as equal to 3. So a is equal to 3q plus r, and r should be greater than 0 and strictly less than 3. And we can give r value as 0, 1 or 2. So these three values can be given, right? Getting this? No? Yes? Yes. Okay. Then we can write a is equal to 3q plus 0, and a is equal to 3q plus 1, and a is equal to 3q plus 2. Let us consider this one, that is a is equal to 3q, and we need to cube this. So the question is asking, they're asking so show that cube of any positive integer is of the form 9m, 9m plus 1 or 9m plus 8. So we need to cube this on both sides. Then a cube is equal to 27 q cube, right? Then we can further simplify this as 9 into 3 times q cube. Okay, and we can further write this as 9m. How? We just assume that m is equal to 3q cube. Okay, so this is of the form, look here. So a cube is of the form 9m. So similarly, we prove this one and this one. That is the second. Yeah. A cube is equal to 3q plus 1 cube. Similarly, now we have this equation a is equal to 3q plus 1, right? So what we do is again we take, we just cube it on both sides. Then we get a cube is equal to 3q plus 1 whole cube. Then we have the formula a plus b whole cube. Can anyone tell me what is a plus b whole cube? You can unmute and tell me, or you can put it on the chat box. That is a cube plus b cube plus 3ab into a plus b. Just use this formula and simplify this. We get a cube is equal to 27 q cube plus 27 q square plus 9q plus 1. Just use this formula and we'll get this simplification. And we can further simplify this as we just take common out of these three. We just take common out of these three, like we take 9 outside, that is 3q cube plus 3q square plus just 1 is q, right, and plus 1. So this can be further written in the form of 9m plus 1. Here we are assuming m is equal to, just assume m is equal to 3q cube plus 3q square plus q. That's it. So again, we got the second proof of this second equation, that is the cube of any positive integer is of the form 9m plus 1. Got it? Next is what you need to do is they are asking we should prove that in the form of 9m plus 8, right? So we have the equation, that is third equation, that is a is equal to 3q plus 2. Then A is equal to 3q plus 2. Then again we're taking cube of this, that is a cube is equal to 3q plus 2 whole cube. That is, again we are using a plus b whole cube in that formula. We get a cube that is equal to 27q cube plus 54q square plus 36q plus 8. So this is the simplification. And further, what we can do is just consider uh, these equations, these things, these terms. Then we take 9 outside, that is 3q cube plus uh, then 6q square plus 4q plus 8 again. So 9m plus 8 here, assuming m is equal to 3q cube plus 6q square plus 4q. So again, cube of any positive integer is of the form 9m plus 8. So hence proved. Is that clear, everyone? Yes. Okay. Next is, the one which I gave you the homework, right? That is the fourth one. You use the same thing. That is, they are asking use Euclid's division lemma. Euclid's division lemma to prove that the square of any positive integer is either of the form 3m or 3m plus 1. So square of any positive integer is of the form 3m or 3m plus 1. So again, what you need to do is you just take the equation 3q plus r, where r is greater than or equal to 0 and less than 3. So what equations you get is 3q plus 0 and 3q plus 1. So just square this equation, you will get no, the equation, or what we say, the square of, you can easily prove the square of any integer, positive integer, is of the form 3m or 3m plus 1. Okay, will you be able to do this, guys? Yes, no, ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಲ್ವಾ? Okay, yes. So that is easy one. No, I just what I just discussed. No, that is quite difficult one. Okay, which I gave you, with the one which I gave you the homework. That is the easy one. You can do it easily. The one, just follow the same procedure which I just mentioned. Got it? So far you guys have understood Euclid's division lemma, or also Euclid's division algorithm. So when you're performing algorithm, you need to perform certain number of steps. No, you just have to go through the procedure. Is that okay? And next is, what you are learning is fundamental theorem of arithmetic. Fundamental theorem of arithmetic. What do you mean by fundamental? What do you mean by fundamental? Anyone can unmute and tell me, or just put it on the chat box. Okay, fundamental means the basic one. That is, this what you're going to learn is the basic theorem of arithmetic or basic rule of this arithmetics. You know, the natural numbers can be written as a product of prime numbers. Yes, of course. Uh, any number, no, any positive number or any natural number that can be written as a product of prime numbers. That is, for example, if I take one example like 4 is a natural number, and this can be written as multiplication of 2 into 2, or another natural number. If I take 25, this can be written as 5 multiplied by 5, or 10 as 5 multiplied by 2, right? So you can take any natural number, and that natural number can be written as a product of prime numbers. You can see here 2 is a prime, also 5, it is also prime. So here is also, you can see the prime numbers 5 and 2. And if we allow these prime numbers to repeat, like if I repeat 2, 3, 7, 11, 23, what you get is 1000, 10,626. So this is also one of the integer, a positive integer, right? Also, you guys know the factorization, which for example, factorizing a number, like if I need to factorize, let me take 58. What I have to do is just need to divide this first of all by 2, right? So how much 58 divided by 2? Am I right? Then whether 29 gets divided by any number? Is 29 is a prime? Yes. 29 is prime, right? Anyone? Just unmute and tell me.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So 29 is prime. So this can be written as 58 can be written as, so 58 is equal to 2 multiplied by 29. Also, if I take some other number, right, like 81. So 81, I just first, it cannot be divided by 2. I take 3. So 3 27s, and again 3 9s, again 3. So this is 3 into 3 into 3 into 3 multiplied by 1. So 3 to the power 4 into 1. This is how we factorize a number, right? So if we have a large number, we can follow the same method, and we can write this. For example, if you want to factorize 32760, this can be factorized as, this can be written as 2 into 2 into 2 into 3 into 3 into 5 into 7 into 13. Okay. Further, it can be simplified as 2 cube into 3 square into 5 multiplied by 7 multiplied by 13. So factors of 32760 is 2 cube into 3 square into 5 into 7 into 13. Clear? So the theorem, the fundamental theorem of arithmetic, what it states is, so it states that every composite number can be expressed as a product of primes, and this factorization is unique apart from the order in which the prime factors occur. That is, every I just type it over here. Every composite number can be expressed as product of primes, and this factorization is unique apart from the order in which the prime factors occur. So this is the statement of this fundamental theorem of arithmetic. So given any composite number, it can be factorized as a product of prime numbers in a unique way, except for the order units, the prime factors occur. Means, so it, if I take any number, so if it considers just its factors are 2, 3, and 5 and 7. So it can also be written as 7 into 2 into 7 into 3 into 5. So in this way, it can also be written. So it is not, no, it does not talk about the order in which the prime factors occur, but that that can be expressed as a product of prime, in a unique way. Now, how it is unique, we'll discuss in the upcoming. No, I'll discuss in the upcoming this one. So in general, for example, if x is a composite number, that x can be written as p1, p2, p3, and pn. So all these numbers are nothing but primes. Okay, any composite number can be written as a product of primes, and also this will be of the ascending order, like p1 will be greater than uh, sorry, p1 will be less than or equal to P2 and less than or equal to P3 and less than or equal to Pn. So this is how the composite numbers can be written. Did you guys get it? Yes, no, don't know. So let me take one example. Did everyone get this? No. I'll explain using uh, an example. So okay. So from your exercise, okay, from exercise 1.2, so in which the first one, express each number as product of its prime factors. Among this first one and second one is homework for you. Okay, these two are homework for you. I'll do the third one, that is 3825. So they are asking us to express this as a product of prime numbers. So as there is 5, you can see this 5, right? So it will be obviously, it can be divided by 5 only. So 2 cannot, you just have to begin from 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, and 17, 19 in this order only. Remember, every composite number can be written as a product of prime factors. So just consider these prime numbers only. So first 2 cannot be. Also 3 cannot divide this number. Instead, let us take 5. So 5, that is, can be written as 765. 765 multiplied by 5, that gives us 3825. Then again, here as there is 5 in this, we can again divide by 5, we'll get 150. Sorry, some mistake. It's better we can divide this by 3 only. No, it can be divided by 3. Okay, so yeah, it can be divided by 3. So 3 is 1275, and again divide this by 3. This gives us 425, and again now you can divide this by 5. That gives you 85, and again you can divide this, you'll get 17. So this 3825 can be expressed as product of prime factors. You can see here, these are all prime numbers, right? So 3 into 3 into 5 into 5, that is further can be written as 3 square into 5 square. So any composite number that can be written as a product of prime factors, and this will be unique. So you can see this 3 is 1 and 5 is one more thing. So it is unique numbers or different numbers, right? So here is one more, uh, that is, yes, the fourth one. That is, again, you need to express this as a product of prime factors. Can anyone do this? Can anyone tell me what are the prime factors? How this 5005 can be expressed as? I'll give you 2 minutes. Do this. I'll ask at 3:35. So it's 3:33 now. I'll ask when you are done. You guys are doing right? Yes or no? You
Yes,
just
sir.
yes. You just use the similar method and you just find out what are the factors of 5005. I'll give you a hint. First, divide this by 5. Okay. Five double zero five divided by 5. How much you get? Yes, it is 1001. Then further, by what we can divide this? By what number we can divide this? Just consider only the prime numbers among these 2, 3, 5, and 7. Then what do we have? 11 and 13. 11. Uh, no, it's actually it can be divided by 7. Okay, so that gives 143. Then further it can be divided by 13. That gives 11. So the prime factors are 5 into 7 into 13 into 11. So these are the prime factors. Again, problem, one more problem. Fifth one, 7429. So this can be factorized as, how you can express this as 7429 can be expressed as 17. You need to divide this by 17. Then what you get is 437. So again, one more prime number, 19. You get 23. So this 7429 can be expressed as 17 into 19 into 23. Just observe here, all these three are prime numbers. Got it? This is what I meant. Every composite number can be written as a product of prime numbers. So this is what fundamental theorem of arithmetic states. Now is it clear, everyone? Yes? Okay, good. Okay, let me go back to example number 5. Example number 5 of your textbook. That is Consider the numbers of the form 4n, so where n is a natural number, and check whether there is any value of n for which 4 to the power n ends with the digit 0. We need to check for any value of n for which 4 to the power n ends with the digit 0. How we can check this, or how we can say that, how we can prove this theorem, or this statement, how we can prove this statement is this: if the number, this 4n for any value of n were to end with digit 0, it must be it should be divided by 5, right? So if this 4 to the power n were to end with digit 0, means it should be divided by 5, right? For example, 10 or 100, or what we say 200. So all these numbers gets divided by 5, right? So if 4 to the power n, any number, this n is a natural number, any number, if we need to end with digit 0, it would be divided by the prime number 5, right? Why can't we consider 10? Why can't we consider 10 instead of 5? Anyone? Because 10 is a composite number, right? So according to fundamental theorem of arithmetic, every composite number can be written as a product of prime numbers, right? So there should be only the prime numbers by which it can be divided, and the prime factorization of 4 would contain the prime 5. This means if 4n ends 4 to the power n that ends with the digit 0, means that would be divided by 5. But this is not possible, since not possible because this 4 to the power n can be written as 2 into 2 to the power 2n. That means only prime factorization of 4n is 2. So any number, for example, if I take 4 square, so that 4 square is how much? It is 16, right? That means 2 into 2 into again 2. So there will be only 2. The factor is 2. So we can say that the uniqueness of fundamental theorem of arithmetic that guarantees there is no other primes in the factorization for n. So only prime factor is 2. So we cannot we cannot get a digit that ends with digit 0. Okay, this is how we can prove this statement. So there is no natural number n for which 4n ends with digit 0, because if this 4n, 4 to the power n, that will only have factors as 2, no, that will contain 2 instead of 5. So it won't contain any factor 5, okay, the prime factor. Is that okay? And next is similar kind of yeah, I'll do similar kind of problem from your exercise. That is the fifth problem. That is, check whether 6n ends with the digit 0 for any natural number n. That is, check whether 6 to the power n can end with the digit 0 for any natural number. So how can we prove this? How can we check this? That is, if 6n ends with a digit 0, then it should be divisible by 3, right? 6 to the power n ends with the digit 0 means it should be divisible by 5, as we know that a number with unit place as 0 and 5 is divisible by 5, right? Then prime factorization of this 6n can be of 6 to the power n can be written as 2 into 3 to the power n. So the prime factorization of 6 to the power n that doesn't contain the number 5. Therefore, the factorization of 6 to the power n that doesn't contain prime number 5. If it would have contained this 5, then we can say that this 6 to the power n can end with digit 0, as we have as I said in the previous problem. No? if if here there is 5 means we can say that 4 to the power n can end with can give us a digit that ends with digit 0, like 200, or what we say 320, like this kind of digit, but it won't give such kind of digits. Okay, this is how we prove that this is we can say that any natural number n 6 to the power n is not divisible by 5, and thus it proves that 6n cannot end with since 6 to the power n is not divisible by 5, so it proves that it proves that 6 to the power n cannot end with the digit 0 for any natural number n. Is that okay? Did you guys get it? If not, I can repeat for you. Oh, fine. Okay. Only Prajwal understood this. What about others? Okay, fine. Great. Next is one more example, that is find the LCM and HCF of 6 and 20 by the prime factorization method. We need to find LCM and HCF of 6 and 20 by a method of prime factorization. So how can we write 6 as? 6 can be written as 2 into 3, right? Similarly, if I want to write 20 in factors, how this can be written 20? So this can be written as 2 into 2 into 5, or 2 square into 5. Okay. Now can you tell me the HCF of 6 and 20? What is the HCF of 6 and 20? That is 1 is 2 here. Okay. That's it, right? No other common factors. So therefore, we can say HCF is 2. What about LCM of 6 and 20? Okay. LCM of 6 and 20 is that is 2 square. We have 2 square, then 3, then 5. How much? So this is a 4, 4, 3 is uh, 12, 12, 5 is 60. So this is HCF. And what you need to observe here is just look here. These are the two numbers. Okay, these A and B. Just say that 6 is A is equal to 6 here, and B is equal to 20 here. So just multiply this number. How much you get? A multiplied by B, how much? Yes, it is 120. Yes. Now keep it aside and observe these two numbers, that is HCF and LCM. How much? So that is 2 and 60. So if I multiply this HCF with LCM, how much I get? That will be equal to 120 again. that says HCF into LCM, that is equal to, or I can say HCF of A and B multiplied by LCM of A comma B, that is equal to A into B. So this is the formula that you need to remember. So this is what you need to remember. So HCF of A and B multiplied by LCM of A and B, that okay, by mistake ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ. Okay, you are sleeping. No. Yes. ಏನು ಆದಿತ್ಯ, ಬೋರ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕಿದ್ಯಾ ಅದನ್ನು? Okay, so this, remember this HCF of A and B, when we multiply this with LCM of A and B, that gives, the product of two numbers, that will be equal to product of two numbers. Okay, it's okay, Aditya. So just note down this, and yes, I'll give some more examples. So that is from your exercise. The third one from your exercise, in that 5, 10 and 92. So find the LCM and HCF of the following pairs of integers and verify that LCM multiplied by HCF, that is equal to product of two numbers. So what are the factors of 5, 10? Can anyone tell me what are the factors of 5, 10? We just divide this by 2, 3 and some other numbers. I'll get it. 5, 10 into factors. Can anyone? Are you guys doing this? No, is it okay with my pace, or is it too fast, or is it too slow? Just put it in the chat box, let me know. Is it too fast or is it too slow? Okay, are you guys doing this? Oh, fine. Five, 10. So this, its factors are 2 into 3 into 17 into and 5 into 1. Okay, and if I can take 92, its factors are 2 into 2 into 23 into 1. So LCM or HCF, what is the HCF of this? HCF of 5, 10 and 92. What is the HCF here? Only this one, right? Only 2 is common here. And LCM is 5, 10 and 92. So I just take LCM, that is, first I divide by 2, I'll get 255 and 46. Again divide by 2, This will remain same, but this changes 23 and 3. So this gives 85 and 23. I divide this again by 5, then 17 and 23. Clear? So LCM is equal to 2 into 2 into 3 into 5 into 17 into 23. How much this gives? This will be about 23460. Okay, so we have HCF that is equal to 2 and LCM that is equal to 23460. Now we need to verify this. Okay. That is, we have HCF multiplied by LCM that is equal to A into B. So first let us consider HCF and LCM, that is 2 is HCF and 23460 is LCM, right? 2 is HCF and 23460 is LCM. What is the answer? What is the answer? So this gives you about 46920. Similarly, if you multiplied by A with B, that is 510 and 92. So this gives again gives you 46920. So therefore, we can say that HCF of A and B and LCM of A and B, that is equal to product of A and B. So that is how we prove this. And yeah, one more problem. That is verify 336 and 54. Now we need to verify that is HCF multiplied by LCM is equal to A into P. Just take factors of 336, divide by 2, you get 168. Again divide by 2, you get 84. Again divide by 2, you get 42. And again divide by 2, you get 21. And divide by 3. So the factors of 336 are 2 to the power 4 into 3 into 7. Clear? Then what about 54? So 54, just divide this by 2, you get 27. Then by 3, 9, and again by 3, that is 3. So factors of 54 are 2 into 3 cube. Okay, now the HCF of these two numbers, what is it? 2 and 3, right? So here and here. 2 is common here and 3 is again common here. So 2 multiplied by 3, that gives us 6. And what about LCM? LCM is 2 to the power 4 into 3 cube into 7. You can see here, just consider 2 to the power 4 and 3 to the power 3 and 7, these 3 digits. Then you get LCM is equal to 3024. So now we got LCM and HCF. What we need to prove is just consider, let's write this as verification. So A into B. What is 336 into 54? 336 into 54. So this, how much you get this? 336 and 54. So this you get as 18,144. And similarly, if you multiply it by HCF with LCM, that is 3024 into 6, that you get as again 18,144. Therefore, A into B is equal to HCF into LCM. Is that clear, everyone? So this is how you find out LCM and HCF of 6 and 20 by the different numbers by prime factorization method. Okay, just fine. So it's already time, right? Okay. Stop ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ?
ಇನ್ನು ಮಂಡೇ ಮಾಡ್ತೀಯಾ?
ಮಂಡೇ ಎಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ?
ಸೇಮ್ ಎರಡು ಟೈಮ್.
11:30 ನಾನು ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಟೈಮಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ನನಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ ಆಗ್ಬೋದಾ? ಆಫ್ಟರ್ನೂನ್ ಇದು ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ.
ಇಲ್ಲಿದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ನಾಳೆ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾಡಿದ್ದು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಫ್ರೀ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು, ಅದು ಸಾಕ್ಬೋದು.
ಓಕೆ, ನಾಳೆ 1 ಅವರ್ ನಾಳಿದ್ದು 1 ಅವರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಆಗ್ಬೋದಾ?
ಹಾಗೆ ಸಾಕು.
ಹಾಗೆ ಸಾಕ್ಬೋದು. ನಾಳೆ
ನಾಳೆ 1 ಅವರ್, ನಾಡಿದ್ದು 1 ಅವರ್,
ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಮುಗಿಸ್ತದೆ.
ನಾನು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸಂಡೇ ಜನರಲಿ ಫ್ರೀ ಕೊಡುದು, ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಇರ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾಳಿದ್ದು
ಇಲ್ಲರೆ ಸೋಮವಾರ ಮಂಗಳವಾರ ಹಾಗೇನಾರು ಮಾಡುವ, ತೊಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನೀನ್ ನೋಡು, ನಂಗೆ ಹೇಳು. ಓಕೆ, ಸರಿ. ಬಾಯ್.